Ebremu mi mo bibiara akwaba edeba Truth on Air channel we say so. Truth on Air, speaking the truth in love. And it is ebremu subscribe ya me show. Mo dey answer be click subscribe button so. There be a oba haba biti onyankopon asem. But o subscribe no yes show. Mo dey answer be click subscribe buttons no. Na afi wa share ama afofra aka. No bibiara enso atimi ahunu no kwasem a e wo twere kunkunim. And it ene ade e ba be hwe the truth about 666. And before say ebedi kan atisa ade we say ase no, I was here to your introduction to the book of Revelation. Na aboya me atimi anya onyankopon asem ni muti ase. Nti nioma bi won ma ebe treaty, ebi ti say rapture, ebi ti say 666 ya kan ho asem. Ebi so ti say the 44,000 people Revelation kan ho asem. Ebi ti say Armageddon. Sa nioma we say nyina and nipa bebre interpretate no different direction by behwe twerɛ kunkronim deɛ na Bible na ankasa eka. Nti ene is going to be the introduction section. Said ebe ya ebeboa ya ma subsequent videos ebeye no ubetimi anya emunti ase. Nti ye hwɛ the introduction of the book of Revelation. Nti the ebedi kan hwɛ the background of the book. The book of Revelation background situation bend ebe na ekoso nti ema John Etrosa. Ni I heard the dates. The dates, no, they are having a lot of controversies around the date. Ebi mo say a date way, ebi mo say a date way. Ni na ebehwe ni aboa ama ehu the actual truth around that. Na afin so ya share the author, which is not debatable. The otro book no, we will also look at that. And then we look at the main theme in the book of Revelation. Say the beya, o kan na o ko tu bibi so a, onfa de ne say ya de huhu bia. Ni mo mebeboa in line with everything. Now let's look at the background of the book of Revelation. So careful study shows that it is written primarily to encourage first century Christians who were facing persecution and to assure them that God and Christ would ultimately succeed over evil. So that was the main focus, the main background that John was writing it to the first century Christians just to encourage them, to motivate them that indeed God and Christ, they are ultimate above every principality. So the Christians are supposed to stand firm in whatever thing that they are doing. And a Christopher now more call persecution or how or time, and we will delve deeper into that. See, do one man. So we are still at the background. The first readers were Christians living in Rome, the province of Asia. Intino Onyankopon enam ninim die so Emma John Etroy edekoma a Christopher na omo Rome more specifically Asia Minor ene ye friend Turkey. Inti nkofo na atwa hia mu honom no ana Onyankopon ede sa message we say edekoma omo. Inti some of the place John Etroy enwoma no edekoma omo ebi ti say Ephesus, the church at Ephesus, the church at Smyrna, the church at Pergamos, the church at Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. Inti such churches we say ena John Etro and woman edekoma. But the challenge is no man would do no mu kom. One who sadi we say obechire no mabim ana says bi beba ye the chip bi be tuni pamo maso ana obi krasi coronavirus ba na says because we don't study the scriptures. We don't really know the challenges no man na ekoso that time no. And inti eno na beboaye ame yehunu no man na ekoso that time no na aboaye ame yetimi anya emunti ase. Inti the first one is persecution from Roman authorities. Sabre no na a Christopher no they were being persecuted by the Roman authorities. Esan say a Christopher no from who say omoye onyankopon emma adenya Christo bae no ono so di ahenie bi aba. Sa ahenie ni mpo omo san so kase sa ahenie ne nseda. Inti Rome fo no hunu yes nkofo mpe so omo tuye ya ahenie ni go aha. Ene ese sa na tie dia ene ye be time ye be demon ye mamunya enije. So they were really persecuting the church of God. So during that time challenges are na one. First one persecution. The second one a pressure to participate in pagan worship. Inti na abedru baby say afede abosonsom say yesum nipa ene sa ne ma no aba be so huge said that some of the emperor omo pese yesom we worship them as God. Tini ekoto no yebo aben pin ni nyina ekoto da bi. But the Christians were not doing that. Inti ema otan no ekoswa. And then the last one was against false teachings. Atron chire. Inti saa time no nipa bebre enchire ahodo ana na ekoso a bebre na ya atro enchire. Enu nti na eno nso ade ana ekoso. Na ade a ebeboaye ame ate the book of Revelation asiye pa the style author no use ye. The book of Revelation book is kind of full of symbols. Nioma onyankopon da na di de kire John. Nti saa nioma no it was in the form of as a picture and onyankopon kire no. Nti ni nyina ordinary ye de ehuni. Ana obofo ni cast ontro saa nioma ni nyina egu hono. And into Revelation belongs to a style known as the apocalyptic literature. So apocalyptic simply means full of symbols, full of figurative languages. Into the book of Revelation contains a lot of signs, visions, numbers. Yebeduro eno na ama 666. This abe trendy a o check nipa interpretation ankofo aye about 666 a we show. So numbers, figurative languages. A coin be one man. We have to analyze it and then know the actual import. Ebi wanye literal, figurative. Into you find a literal, how kind of find a literal? Say. Now when you say a sis, I would do sis, I would do sis, and a chilo or be mama so. No, you have to know. Say we are having figurative language. The book of Revelation. Into no, and only idea I was here. Into some of the symbols and signs. No, say the be a boy. I mean, I say no. And then oba akanman asanteman ye wo edinkra symbols. Me sure say what pen edinkra symbols. Into no symbol bi one my friend say funtum funafu denchem funafu. Me sure say ebia ene na ye first time I want say adewe. But I can edinkra symbols no ho. Funtum funafu denchem funafu. Aha, symbol a it is a denchem mienu a omafu bom. But asantefo chire me be hu ye say saa emmoa mienu we say omafu bom enso omo didi a na omo pre ni nyina agina de ben emenase de obi a pese aduane ni bi efa ni menase but at long last ebekwa kogu yafunu ba kum edinkra symbol we enya ade a exist is like Siamese twins but ye ni aboa ye ni denchem bia omafu bom mienu ene ewo ho ye di represent it. But just a symbol, a sign. They say there is unity in diversity. Although obia nkuniti, but ye kaboma ye betimi aye bibia amana ye. So they are just using this as a representation. Omudi jina ho ama unity in kabom. Inti na aduane ne ba ani kwan se pre cause ye den krampa ye furu ba akona mpo ne beka akugum. So we have to relax. Ani kwan se pre just symbol. Omon fan chire say aboa bi wo wiase a sa aboa no say no tie. It is just a representation, a symbolic sign. Omode chire bibi, omode communicate bibi. Sa pepepe na me pese of the book of Revelation. Say ye kwa anim na ye hwe nyoma bi a emfa bibia literal. Say what? Say the beast. Uti beast na beast about trim. Na just a beast ni ye ka ho asem. Inti beast bi ba be pia firi nsuom beast bi ba be pia firi a ni tie nson na ne there be e was so tobo na oni ye say it is a representation or the represent ama bibi inti uti dragon no na ni ti nson na ni tie num na ni tie ayi say a moment a obeti dragon no na afiwa sha say o koseche say na dragon sitie inti a party say dragon bi ba wi ase and I said dragon bi ba bebe wiase a itie nso there be I was all told when I only say it is a representation, a symbol or de chira ade bim ama onya emunti ase enti ubeti bibi to say lamp the lamp was slay the lamp that was slay enti uti sa nyoma we si a so onya ntobo ase emfa ni literal say lamp ankasa ene ye ka ho asem na bi na emum enye lamp ankasa na ye ka ho asem na emum ye ka a representation na de bi a de gina honom ama watimi anya ade ne mu enti ase. Afa yen read some of the examples no when it comes to the numbers. 7 and it says me assure say 666 and mu na 7 ni every by 7 ade a you hear most often in the book of Revelation. It's more than 50, about 56 or so. 7 into the 7 churches as Asia Minor, the 7 seal and all that. 7 ube hu ye pa the book of Revelation. But 7 no ejina ma completeness or perfection. Completeness or perfection. You do on my you delve very deeper into that aspect. Say behwe symbol ni nyina beast na ejina o ma de ni ahwe dragon na ejina o ma de lamp na ejina o ma de seal na ejina o ma de ye behwe sa anyoma we say nyina. But this is just an overview. Say the be boya me unu say we will not take everything literal. Say mate 7 into your part says 7 number 7 no ho asema na o ka. Nti e wo say enya nti ase. Nti e ba 6 nso a me sure say you say 6 e fall short of 7. Because 6 is not a complete word of 7. Nti wa fall short. Aka baako ansa na watimi aye complete. Meaning say oye incomplete. Into you do one man, you delve very deeper into that. The theory of 666 ene abedani kanka. And you probably chire mu obi si he 666 no ni huno enche bi eba beba na US na be sha ase afri na coronavirus by obi si he vaccine no kwa vaccine bi 666 no ono no sha ase a odi asem na bi yenya ti ase se symbols anana John they representing your mebia ebe me enya munti ase nti eduru wono ma we will delve very deeper into that na amayenya emunti ase nti no already regional as someone who was living there at that particular time, the first century people nti the ebe boa pamo timi ati book we ase any some of the symbols, some of the signs are e book nim no me pesa o ye ene say you have to compare Revelation with the Old Testament books. Some of the Old Testament books, especially Isaiah, Daniel, Ezekiel, and Zechariah. Some books for we and as a King kind Revelation. Also tobo now compare or contrast now when you may be a what Daniel, when you may be a Ezekiel, when you may be a Zechariah. Na abo amwetimi no when your conclusion ye. If you ignore these Old Testament books are very, very difficult. So betimi ati the book of Daniel, the book of Revelation I see ye pan. And second one I'm person also say understand the original audience first. So we are not the first recipients of the book of Revelation. Any pebimu any ye tro letter ne de koma omo. The 7 churches at Asia Minor. Enkofo bi ne de mo omo. Inti they were the first recipient. Inti John H. nyina no omo na ye first people na omo ni trima na o trama omo. So we have to understand it from that perspective. Say the be boya me etime nyanti ase. And then the last one is that we should let the Bible interpret its own symbols. Bible na nkasa ye ma ne ho kwan se on kire wono ane symbols nim. Enye wo na abekire symbols nim. Cause wo time na John in Etron na wo ni ho. You were nowhere to be found. But your agency own our church symbols to suit our current time. I bet to say daily graphic no. Our pay current news na aboa our audience at here. But that is not the actual import here. Until allow the Bible to interpret its own symbols. Until Okase 666 or Becca said that is the mark of the man. Until Sanumarina or can no or explain it terms no. Let the Bible explain its own text. Now let's move straight forward to the date of the book. Book nankasa kra chro ne da ben. And this is one of the controversial arguments that we are having today about the actual time of the book of Revelation. Ebimo suggested say AD 95 to AD 96. And Ebimo so say a year before AD 70. And Obia on a point are already proving. But one of the points of which me personally, from the extensive research I'm making, about AD 95 to AD 96 during the times of Domitian. And Nona personally, I have also accepted it, and it has been also accepted by a lot of scholars. It's say the proofs and it, they are very very concrete. With the first date, which is AD 95 to AD 96, it was during the time of Domitian. But with after or with the before AD 70, that one, Emperor Nero was at that time ruling. That is the difference that we are having here with the dates. So there was different rulers during that time. But with the AD 95, during the times of Domitian, that was where the emperor worship was very very rampant. Say some emperor no yɛn nyinaa yɛn koto ne yɛn som emperor no esan sɛ ɔno na ɛyɛ boss ɔno na ɔyɛ senior man wɔ obiam. During the times of Domitian, and na ɛyɛ very very common among the people. But during the times of Nero no na ɛnhyɛ da nyɛ common saa. But during the times of Nero no, the ni who said ne the severe persecution. Na omo tanya Christopher ni gidi pa, very very severe. During the times of Domitian, no omo tanya Christopher ni there. They were still persecuting, but during the times of Nero, no, very very serious, very very intense. Inti enoni adia ebe boy, and the condition of the churches at that particular time, it proving me say falling within the time and Domitian really, because that time no, some of the churches were very developed. In the Revelation chapter 1, Abraham talking about the 7 churches at Asia Minor. You could see say in sorry how do be at that time contextually not some of the churches has been developed, but when we check from the before AD 70, that time the church wasn't all that developed. But some who believe say it was during the times of Nero or Momo arguments no based on Revelation chapter 11, where it was talking about the temple at that particular instant. You drew on will delve deeper into that. Now aboy. But personally, and from a lot of scholars, the Obia Ajatum and say the book was written around AD 95 to AD 96. So that is what has been generally accepted by a lot of scholars. And the author of the book, of which this is not something it is debatable, because author nankasa ekan said on the Troy about 4 times in the book. John ekan in the book said on the Troy. So this one is not debatable. Said John and the book of Revelation. And then the place where he wrote the book, it was at Patmos, the island of Patmos. Revelation chapter 1, verses number 9. Honum and John the book of Revelation. Now let's look at the key verse in the entire book. Over the book of Revelation. This is what has been believed. Say it is the key verse in the book. Say the bear won't go outside that. Now on cause sanoma who be because the key verse was much specific about Insembi. So the key verse is more talking about the theme of this particular book. So the book of Revelation, the theme here is not about fear. Book no can but it's talking about victory. The victory that the Christians who are still holding up to the faith are going to get at the last days. Inti a Christopher now still no more that's even during the times of the persecution, no, and your ma omubenya so omukoswa jina jidie ni ma. And Nana John eka ho asem. So it's not about fear. Said John or the who be me Christopher no na beast be and tienson na dragon be free there be. The purpose wasn't to scare the first century Christians, no, but rather he was communicating a victory message to them. Say omunkoswa njinam ewojidie nim na enkwagye no eye omodia na ewiye no omubenya victory. So that is the actual theme. Into Revelation chapter 17 verses number 14. they will make war on the lamb, and the lamb will conquer them. For he is the King of kings and the Lord of lords, and those with him are called and chosen and faithful. So this is the actual theme of the entire book. Jesus Christ is the King of kings and the Lord of lords. So they are supposed to maintain in the faith. They are supposed to still continue worshiping God in as much as they facing the persecution and all that. The book of Revelation a book bia edekeke. Say ye to ye bona yesua ne ya and it's one of the simple book so reading ye na unya munti ase eti symbols na se kan a very very simple enye difficult kra. It's say uhu han ma be say we na oka ho asem we na oka ho asem we na oka ho asem na aye very very simple e the amount and it me sure say at least yesua bibi kakra ewum. In the next lesson ye behwe more specifically about the time period enoma hodo a okekaye enoma hodo obobo so ewo book nim ene nipa bebre mu in a different way says ni akire mama na rapture nipa mienu na mo betehwem na we ko hwem na we ko hwem na we ko enkofo ahyase ekire ehun nsem bebre amagido the concept of 144,000 people be saved. Sani omani nyina ebeto eboni ahwe ni nyina kakra na awieye no aboya mietimi enya ntiase the book of Revelation. It's answer the book of Revelation the book author no assure readers no said they will get blessings after reading it. It is also bona kinkan the book of Revelation there is a lot of blessings attached to it. Utie nsem so ewom so author ne say eno so nhira wom. Nti misrew lesson we lesson enu kwan so mix it. Cause so ne follow lesson in kakra. Say there be ye drop video bi unsu betimi ati na ma wanya nhira author no eka ho asem. Ba misrew so unsubscribe ya up to this point misrew. Momodi answer be click subscribe button ne so. Say there be ebema publicity na ko fast. Na fe so ye post video enya fe ne be share link e di amount ansa na watimi aba behwe. The moment you post video no automatically you benya access to that video no na amount so watimi ahwe. Yeah, there a lot of activities eba enti mishewa abomodi aso obe subscribe. Say the be ya post ya na unsa aka. Nyakopon nkoso a enhire nyina na nkoso a enti ase. Unti bibia ase drop it in the comment section. Ebeto ye boni a chire ni nyinam na amount so watimi enyo nyakopon asem ni munti ase. Nyakopon nkoso enhire na onye ekese ewe Yesu Kristo dimo. Amen.
Truth on air, speaking the truth in love.